The Trump administration now investigating a deadly Florida crash allegedly caused by an illegal migrant truck driver.
He was an illegal migrant, but he was still given a commercial truck license by California, despite being an illegal migrant.
An Indian national entered the U.S. illegally through the Mexico border in September of 2018.
Employed by a California company, killed 3 people in Florida. This guy didn't even speak English.
Grace and peace, everyone. We're going to look at this story. It has been it's all over the place. So let's go ahead and look at it. Let's go.
Speaking of reckless driving, there was a horrific video that came out of Florida. An illegal migrant was driving a truck when he suddenly decided to do a U-turn.
That's crazy.
In the middle of the road. Another car, a minivan, had no time to stop, naturally, plowed into the back of him. 2 people were killed instantly at the scene, and 1 person died later in hospital. What was so remarkable about this? Well, firstly, he was an illegal migrant, but he was still given a commercial truck license by California, despite being an illegal migrant. And when the car smashed into him, he barely even reacted. Cool, calm, collected. He just stood there casually as the emergency services crews jacked up the truck so they could remove the remains of the people from under him. I mean, it's horrific and disturbing, quite frankly.
If I was one of the family members of those killed, I would want to know, can I sue the transport company who employed an illegal migrant?
Oh my gosh.
Because he should never rightly have been on the road. And second, could I sue the state of California for issuing a driver's license, moreover a truck license, to someone who is in the United States illegally? He'd been in the US illegally since 2018.
Crazy
so
work.
7 years. I don't know how long he was driving semi-trailers for, but to do a U-turn across a major highway, that in itself shocking, but to kill 3 people, I mean, the family should be...
There was a story that came out saying there was a huge backlog of driver's tests that there were like thousands of people waiting to complete their driver's tests because the laws have changed now. So if you have an overseas license, you need to complete a test. And the biggest reason so many overseas migrants were failing was because they couldn't read the signs that were in English. These are people that were probably already driving on the roads before the law changed and required them to do a new test. So, I mean, it's shocking it happened in Florida, but it does make you wonder, are we close to having some sort of horrific accident like that happen here?
Federal authorities say Singh, an Indian national, entered the U.S. illegally through the Mexico border in September of 2018. He was arrested 2 days later, but claimed he was afraid to go back to his home country. And so he was released on a $5,000 immigration bond. The White House's rapid response social media account reposted a video of the accident with a statement criticizing the state of California for granting Singh a commercial driver's license. The California governor's press office quickly responded that Singh entered the U.S. during President Trump's first term and before Gavin Newsom took office. But the Department of Homeland Security is pushing back, saying in a statement to Fox News, 3 innocent people were killed in Florida because Gavin Newsom's California DMV issued an illegal alien a commercial driver's license. This state of governance is asinine.
He's got a very poor record, and we showed that when we did the debate. But, you know, he's spending all this time being cheeky on social media, and yet people can't get permits to rebuild their homes in Southern California. We had an issue where you had an illegal alien truck driver that got a commercial driver's license in the state of California, employed by a California company, kill 3 people in Florida. This guy didn't even speak English.
Preliminary report says if states had followed the rules, the driver would have never been behind the wheel. It also says the driver responsible for that fatal crash that killed 3 people, quote, the driver failed the assessment of providing correct responses to just 2 of 12 verbal questions and only accurately identifying 1 of 4 highway traffic signs. Here's more from Secretary Duffy on X, posting, Here's what we know. Washington State improperly issued the driver a full-term commercial driver's license. Asylum seekers or illegal aliens are not allowed to receive this. New Mexico failed to conduct an English language proficiency test when they pulled the driver over for speeding. Had they done this, the driver would not have been on the road. We are also looking into California's issuance of the commercial driver's license. The failures here are despicable, and non-enforcement and radical immigration policies have turned the trucking industry into a lawless frontier, resulting in unqualified drivers improperly acquiring licenses to operate 40-ton vehicles. The president and I moved quickly to require drivers to speak English, our national language, and launch a full-scale audit of how these licenses are doled out. Now, here's more about the driver. Harjinder Singh is accused of killing 3 people in a minivan in Florida after you showed the video after attempting an illegal U-turn.
Secretary Rubio posted this on X saying, effective immediately, we are pausing all issuance of worker visas for commercial truck drivers. The increasing number of foreign drivers operating large tractor-trailer trucks on U.S. roads is endangering American lives and undercutting the livelihoods of American truckers.
But he can decide who can get a new visa to come in here and work as a truck driver. So he's pausing that, saying we're at least pausing it until we can figure out a way to make sure everyone that's doing so can do so safely. Because remember, this person wasn't even able to pass a basic driver test, didn't even speak English, and it seems like that should be a minimal requirement for driving commercial trucking in this country, that you know what the road signs say, know what they mean, and can understand them, because public safety comes first. And again, we're dealing with another situation that was entirely preventable and entirely political, because, Gavin Newsom puts public safety behind the interests of illegal aliens, which are actually his political interests as well. So this is just a step of putting public safety first. It will make things safer, at least going forward. And there are probably other things they could do to make sure things like this don't happen again.
Yeah, Sean, you and I have discussed the damage that Newsom's policies have done to California, and that's real damage. But this is an example of those sanctuary policies spilling over into the rest of the country, and in this case, the free state of Florida. And yes, there were 3 people killed by a guy who should have never been in our country, should have never gotten work authorization, and certainly should not have been issued 2 commercial driver's license. But I will tell you this. Since this happened, what have you seen? We have the Lieutenant Governor of Florida bringing him back. He's going to face serious justice. The Trump administration immediately, when this came to light, yanked the business license of the trucking company that employed this guy.
Right.
And Florida, we're going to go after this company too. Because yes, I blame the sanctuary policies, but how as a company do you put somebody on the road who doesn't understand English, knowing what kind of safety hazard that is? So it's a much different response from Florida under my leadership and under President Trump's leadership at the federal government. So it's a big tragedy, but I think the response has been very robust in a good way.
I'm sure you've seen this story going around. It's been everywhere all weekend, where this driver of a semi-truck made an illegal U-turn off of a turnpike on a highway in Florida, which ultimately resulted in a family of 3 in a minivan slamming into his truck and killing them instantly. The driver of the truck is now being charged with 3 counts of vehicular homicide, and shocker, he's not in the country legally. This has been a huge problem in the trucking industry for quite some time now, and it feels like every few weeks there ends up being a fatal accident, and come to find the driver of the truck is not here legally. So in this particular case, the guy appears to be Indian. He crossed the U.S.-Mexico border in 2018 and obtained his CDL in the state of California, allowing him to drive it all over the United States. Now, one really good thing about Florida, and the reason they were able to discover that he's not here legally so quickly, is that Florida happens to be in a 287G agreement, which means that a lot of their highway patrol and their local law enforcement agencies have been trained by ICE and deputized to be able to ask people their immigration status and help enforce immigration, because typically local law enforcement isn't able to do that. So I think every state should go go into that. Also, the CDL issue. So there's a huge issue with a lot of people being issued these non-domicile CDLs. So that is, and I think there's like 10 states that allow this, which Florida is one of them. They should maybe stop doing that. But it basically means that you don't have to be a legal U.S. resident in order to obtain a CDL, which doesn't mean that all of these people have non-domicile CDLs. I would suspect that this guy has a regular CDL, and how he got it, I have no idea. But what I do know is that there are people all over the country either doing things under the table or helping people to obtain these things, whether it's a regular driver's license or CDL, very quickly. And speaking of Florida, just a few months ago, there were several DMV employees who were arrested for this very few things. So it says 2 DMV employees in Bay County, Florida were reportedly issuing driver's license, including CDLs for operating tractor trailers to individuals who do not meet the legal requirements. So they were basically taking money under the table and giving these things to people, again, who didn't have the legal requirement. And by the way, if this is happening in Florida, one of the states that is the toughest on immigration, imagine how bad it is in other states, especially blue states. It says these licenses were being issued in exchange for cash payments, bypassing necessary tests and training. The scheme has been operating for at least 2 years and may have resulted in the assurance of over 1,000 fraudulent licenses. So this is what Democrats say. It's not happening. It's against the law. Okay, but it is against the law, but it's still happening. Just like people showing up on voter rolls and things like that. So you probably have hundreds of thousands of people with their CDLs that shouldn't have them, that are driving tractor trailers all over the United States. And you have tons of people with licenses who shouldn't have them, who are driving cars all over the United States. So number one, I personally think that non-domicile CDLs should not even be a thing at all and should be completely outlawed. And two, I think they need to be cracking down on how people are obtaining these things, even if they're non-domicile. I do know that, okay, so for instance, in Pennsylvania, there's a town there that has a large population of Haitian immigrants, and a lot of them were getting licenses very quickly, yet they would be on the road and seem to not know the laws, and there would be a lot of accidents. We'll come to find there are people that are going to the DMV with them, helping them take the test, even if they don't understand the text on the text. So on text on the test. So you have people on the roads that still, they're driving and they can't even read the signs on the roads. So this is a huge problem. It's been a huge problem for a minute, and these are roads that all of us drive on.
As a truck driver, this is a serious problem. These scumbags are undercutting our rates and taking our jobs. Who here is tired of the state of California causing problems for the entire country? His unfazed look when the car crashed into his trailer is terrifyingly psychopathic. Wow, man, he did not even blink, man. I drive a truck for a living. I can tell you without a doubt, these people are all over the roads. You have no idea how unsafe you are out here. Wow. Gosh. Have mercy. American truckers have complained about this for years. No one listened. Everyone responsible for issuing this guy a license should go to prison. I agree with that 100%. Real quick, I appreciate you all jumping into this. If you don't mind, give me your comments down in the comment section. Let me know what you think about this. Do you want us to talk more about it? There's definitely more as it relates to the policies about English only. They've instituted this in many states that drivers that cannot answer basic English questions will be pulled over and have their loads removed. Let me know if y'all want to talk more about this. I'll be glad to do so. I want to say thank you again for all your support of the channel. And until next time, everybody, grace and peace. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the Jay Witt Podcast. If you enjoyed today's show, please do me a favor and hit me up with that 3-piece special. Like the video, subscribe, and of course, share it with somebody who would also enjoy this type of content. And make sure you leave a comment, because I do pin the best comments to the top. So thank you so much for tuning in today. And until next time, everybody, grace and peace.